Bring your cup and take a seat. Fill it up, coffee, wine, or tea. Come find what you're looking for. A good pour.
Welcome back to A Good Pour. I'm Kathryn Good, your host. Today we have our friends from the Gallatin Department of Electricity here. We have Mark and Jaerica. Welcome. Glad y'all are here.
Thank you.
I'm so excited you're here because we don't ever talk about electricity. It just powers everything and we don't talk about it, right? We take it for granted.
Yes, we do.
But I have had the pleasure of working with y'all and finding out much more about electricity than I ever needed to know or wanted to know. But more than that, y'all are doing incredible work. You treat people incredibly kind. You're well known across the valley as I now know it, for doing good work. And I want other people to know. So I'm glad y'all are here.
Thank you for having us.
So tell me about the Gallatin Department of Electricity. Tell everybody, because I know a lot, but tell everyone else.
You want to start? You want me to start?
Oh, well, you are the head here, so.
Well, we're Gallatin Department of Electricity. We like to go by GDE.
Yes.
So that's our new logo. So, lots of times we'll say GDE.
Unless you don't know what GDE is.
That's
right?
correct.
Right.
Unless you don't know.
Yeah.
We are a distributor of electricity. We do not produce electricity. So Tennessee Valley Authority, they are the ones in the Tennessee Valley, 7-state area, that produces electricity. And they provide it to us, and then we provide it. We turn right around, it comes into our substations, and we distribute it out to all the customers within the city limits of Gallatin. So that's basically what we do. We're not for profit. Lots of people think we're trying to make a big buck, but we don't do that. We try to provide power at the least cost possible, and we pass that on to the customers as best we can. When we have we get an electric bill from TVA every month for the power that comes through our substations. And if you look at that,
that's got to be a big bill.
That's
Huge.
correct. It's a huge bill. It's usually $5, $6, $7 million a month that we pay TVA. And then we put some cost on top of that to cover our operations and maintenance. And we like to make a little bit of money. We'll start putting money in the bank so that when we're ready, we'll have money there to build substations and expand operations and trucks and all that kind of stuff. But it's not to make a profit.
Right.
Not to make a profit.
Right. When did it start?
1939 is when we signed our first contract with TVA. Now, if you go back in history, we actually had an electric system in Gallatin in the early days, 1900s. At some point, the city decided to sell to Tennessee, Kentucky Light and Power, which was an IOU, or we call that an investor-owned utility, IOU. And they ran it for several years before TVA started helping cities in the valley decide, okay, we need to make this a public utility. And they passed, of course, the TVA Act in 1933. And then cities started to come on with TVA. And when they did that, the forefathers, the city fathers decided, okay, we're going to get on this train. And they bought back the electric system from Tennessee, Kentucky Light and Power, probably in 1938. But we really didn't start providing electricity until 1939, when we
But that was a huge benefit to Gallatin.
Oh,
and I mean,
huge.
right. Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
And there was a vote. There had to be a vote to decide if we were going to do that. And it was 566 to
34, something like that.
34, something ridiculous. So I've always wondered who those
I know,
people
were
were
they
that voted
Employees
against.
of the company. Who knows?
There's always somebody that's going to be against whatever you do.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah.
What would you add, Jaerica?
Our citizens don't always know who even powers their home. So if you think about like a kid who goes to school, they just know they can turn the lights on. Not a lot of families are talking about, oh, well, this is actually who we get our power from. Schools don't even know who they get their power from.
No.
So when we partner with Schools for School Uplift to do a kickoff in there, those schools even can say, well, I think, at my house, I get electricity from X, but because they're under the Sumner County Board of Education, they're not even knowing. So getting to go in and really teach even students and faculty and just the community that we are that service provider here in Gallatin, because we do serve our community. We're showing up in the schools. We just went to Station Camp High School's career fair this week and talked to a handful of students that were maybe interested in line career, and they don't always know that there's an atmosphere for that or what that avenue is, and having those conversations where years before, we weren't even showing up in those career fairs. We weren't showing up in the community. And so we were kind of like this, like a dark cloud, I guess you would say, unknown. We were just an unknown. And sometimes the unknown is scary. We don't want to be scary. We are truly here to serve alongside the people in Gallatin. So when I'm at Gallatin and someone comes in, hey, how are you doing? And then I'll see you at Food Line. And then if they ask a question in Food Line, you can answer those questions. We're not just scary people out here. We really are a part of the community. I would say that.
So you mentioned linemen, and we take electricity for granted. We also take our linemen for granted.
Absolutely.
Talk about what linemen do.
Oh man, they touch anything from the house to the big power lines overhead. So that's 7,200 volts overhead, Mark.
72. Well, it's 72. One line is 7,200. If you go between the two lines, it's 12,470 volts. So it's very, very dangerous. A lineman is kind of a special person, really. When they start, they go to lineman school. We don't usually hire anybody that has not been to lineman school. They have to be able to climb, and that kind of weeds out the ones that can climb and are afraid to climb.
Okay, I was going to say, what's the special skill to climb? Just not being afraid of heights. Is that
It's
Kind of.
yeah?
It's different than being afraid of heights. I can go up in a bucket, but climbing a pole is a whole different thing, because you're not, if you're in a bucket, you're kind of surrounded by the protection. If you're climbing a pole, you're just up there.
So you have like spikes on your boots that are helping you go up the pole. Your belt is helping you up the pole. So it's you and your equipment alone in a pole if you're climbing. And so you have to be able to A, trust your equipment, and B, have the skill set to climb up the pole.
Are there competitions for this?
Oh yes, oh yes.
So
Lineman rodeo.
Really?
Lineman rodeo.
I was going to say, I'm going to start.
Yes, you should come to the rodeo. It's in
Murfreesboro
June.
this year. Yeah.
June. I believe it's
June.
June. We have 7 linemen competing. So 6 of them are apprentices. So they'll compete in the apprentice arena. 2 of them are journeymen, and then 5 of them are apprentices.
So they'll have apprentice competition. They'll have journeyman competition. And if you have an older lineman, they have what they call the senior competition.
Okay.
It is.
And then you have team competitions too. So they'll have a team of 3 they'll have different projects or different tests that they run, and it's it's timed, so it's on time. If you drop a wrench, you get a strike against you, a deduction. And usually the ones that win have no deductions. So, if they're up there and they drop a wrench, they know they're done, but they'll keep going.
We had one who climbed out of his boot last year.
Yeah.
the boot broke while he was doing it. He had
Yes,
to
it did.
finish
Was that a
off.
deduction?
They didn't know his
No.
boot
Oh,
broke. He
okay,
just
okay.
finished, and he
Okay.
came down, and his boots just
Okay.
flopping. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
He had to find a new boot.
Okay, so the linemen are doing the repairs.
Yes.
Building, constructing, running service wire, doing reconductors, running power to the house, businesses, transformers. We
There's a lot to
touch
learn.
everything.
There's a lot to learn.
So the thing about GDE is because we are so small, our line crew is going to be so diversified.
Right.
If you go to a bigger outfit, you may be specialized in substation, or you may be specialized in line construction, or you may be specialized in just when power outages or service calls. Whereas at GDE, you're touching it all. So you are getting a skill set by knowing how all the things are working. Whereas if you were specialized, you may come off of there and be like, oh, well, I can only actually work overhead. Whereas our guys or our team can say, put me anywhere you need me. I can work. Mhm.
And in linemen, they're really, truly, their families are pretty special too.
Mhm.
When you have a lineman and you have a spouse and kids, that spouse is going to know that that lineman can pick up at any minute and have to go in any kind of weather. The linemen work in cold and heat and rain and wind, and they just do it. Of course, they're paid well.
Mm-hmm.
They're paid extremely well, but especially in Gallatin Department of Electricity. But they understand that when they're called on, they have to go because they're taking care of their community.
Right.
Mhm.
And that's a pride that they all have. It's a pride that we all have at the electric system, but that lineman especially is dealing with the elements in a way that lots of people don't ever deal with.
Yeah, for sure. Is there anything else you wish people knew? I mean, I'm guessing like when my electricity goes out, before I call.
Not
and tell
always.
you.
Not
Oh,
always.
really?
Not yet.
No.
We're getting there.
Okay.
So we have a new metering system that we're installing.
I knew that. So maybe, okay.
So the new
So
metering
we should
system,
call when?
Yes.
If you are on a transformer of your own, if you don't know what a transformer is, call us. We'll explain it to you. But if you look out your house and say you have an overhead transformer, you may be the only one on that transformer. And if you're the only one on that transformer, we don't have our AMI system there yet, call us and let us know.
Okay.
So
Now-
we're halfway through our metering installation for our new system. So we're about half and half. If you're on that metering system now, we will find out. But if you're not, you're still going to have to call.
Okay.
And also look at our outage map now.
Yes.
And you have a new app,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
we have
yes.
an app for that.
Yes.
Yes.
So you could truly look on there and say, oh, do I have an outage in my area? And we would, if it is there, then we don't need you to call at that
Okay.
point.
Yeah. Very excited about having an
Yes,
outage map.
yes,
Very
yes.
excited.
Okay. What else do you wish people knew?
There's so many misconceptions about how much electricity you're using. So we have people that struggle with bills, paying their bills, and they'll call in and they'll say, well, I haven't been using my heat, or I haven't been using my air conditioner. But in reality, the weather has so much to do with how much your electric bill is, because even if I'll set my thermostat down to 62 at night, or 65, which is a little cool. But if the weather's
Perfect to me.
if the weather's very cold, your units are still going to run. Especially if it's an electric unit in the cold or the heat, it's going to run, and it's going to drive up the cost of your bill. The level of your bill. So a lot of that has to do with weather. Can you conserve? Yes, but your bill is still going to go up because of the weather.
Yeah.
and that employees that work there, they don't get discounts on their bill.
No.
They get it taken right out of their check before they ever see their bill, actually.
Okay.
So we do, that's the only thing we offer, is we'll withhold it from your check. So, I mean, you can still pay it on your own, but they sometimes don't even see their bill before it comes out of their
That's great.
check.
That's the way I am.
Mm-hmm.
So in working with y'all, I mean, you're public servants. I mean, you're taking care of a utility that we definitely take for granted. But you also you take care of your employees. You've talked a lot about taking care of people, that, especially people that are struggling. Jaerica, why don't you start with just employees and how you do good work with your employees? And then Mark, if you just want to talk about how y'all take care of our community.
Well, I'll tell a really cool thing. We have education assistants. So if anyone would like to go back to school, if it helps you and GDE would have that education assistance program available for you to do that. You have to have worked there for at least a year to be able to take advantage of that great asset, which I have done myself. There are about a handful of us now that are utilizing that education assistance program, which is really great. We do safety celebrations. If anybody follows along on our Facebook, they'll see that we just celebrated our over 3,000 days of no lost time
8
accidents.
years.
So yeah,
amazing.
that's a long time. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't things that happen, because those are OSHA different than a lost time accident. So that's something really cool. They got safety jackets. So little things to say, hey, we appreciate your attention to that safety detail. We do participation in the Gallatin Christmas Parade. So our team has a fun time with that. They believe if they see us in the parade, they know that we're actually existing. So we weren't going to do one this year, and our employees was like, no, people like to see the red truck. And I was like, okay, well, if you say, we'll do that.
Yeah.
So listening is another
We just
another
didn't get
thing.
real crazy this year.
Yes.
Try to
yes.
win the float competition or something.
Yes. We do Munching with Marks. And so that is where our employees, we switch it up every year now. We're in our third year of a different rotation, so that, we have different departments and we don't want those silos to break in there. And so if we can get our team collaborating on different levels and just sitting and having one-on-one conversations with Mark is not something everybody gets to have the GM sit at the table with them. And so having that availability for everybody to share concerns, celebrations, comments, whatever that is, that gives them the opportunity for that. Mark just went around this morning. Today is Employee Appreciation Day. I don't know if you knew that.
I got an email.
Okay.
I got an email and I was like, it's still in my inbox because I'm like, maybe I need to appreciate my employees today. Anyway, it was fun.
So Mark did that.
Chick-fil-A.
He went through with some chicken minis today. And then, being able to get them interested in United Way. This is our third year of doing a pretty big United Way campaign. I know that that's good work in our community, but the fact that our employees get to also pour into that good work, I think is really
You make them
awesome.
feel good
Yes.
about doing it, which is
Yes.
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 Love
And
that.
And we match,
yes.
and TVA will help match.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
So it ends up being quite a bit of money that's put into the community,
Mm-hmm.
just by working on that campaign.
Yeah.
Yep. And then one of the things that we love to do is we partner with the Gallatin Child Care Center off of Whole Circle at Christmas. And this past year, we actually were able to help 8 kids. 4 of them go to that child care center, and 4 of them are in just like elementary, high school age, middle school age. But we were just going to do the 4, and our employees were like, no way. We got to do all, because grandma had 8. So grandma was taking care of them. And just the fact that our employees were like, we can make it for 8 kids. It didn't matter. So that for me was something great. So because our employees they're helping wrap the gifts. They're helping take up for the gifts. They're taking the gifts over there and hanging out with the kids, not just the ones they're supporting, but all the kids. They're playing around with them. So for me, they're seeing people in real life. So we're not just GDE out here on an island. We are in the community and we're showing up, and our employees get to do the good work.
Right.
So it's not just Jaerica, it's not just Mark. It is an entire landscape of GDE that does that.
But you're helping to lead that culture, which
We're trying to, yes,
very much appreciate.
absolutely.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
It's it's always been very, very important to me because my whole career I've had lots and lots of learning opportunities, and I want to pass that on. So I'm getting a little long in the tooth now, but I love to see our employees advance and learn and grow and all those things. So it's not just college education; it's sending them to training, all kinds of things like that. So it's the holistic view of everything, but we want each employee to be able to grow and continue to grow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. How about our community,
Um,
especially when people are struggling?
well, that's difficult.
Yeah.
We can't just say, okay, well, we're not going to require you to pay your bill this month. We're governed by, TVA's our regulator, and if we can't just say, excuse this bill, there's lots of times I would love to do that.
Sure.
But, we are required to make everybody pay their bill and pay their fair share. We do our best to treat everyone the same. So some people think we're picking on them, but we're really not. We're just trying to do our due diligence and do what we're required to do. So that's a
Well, what
that's a
stood out to
struggle.
me in learning about y'all is just that you listen and you're empathetic and
Yeah.
we're going to have hard seasons and people are going to have hard seasons. That doesn't mean it's a freebie, right? But
Right.
but you listen and
Right.
and you have told stories of, just being people who listen and people
Sure.
who care.
We try to point them in the right direction where they can possibly get some help with a bill. We've recently done something where a lot of people don't know this yet, but there's a system called prepay. The new metering system allows us to do prepay.
Yeah.
So if somebody comes and they, with their credit score's not good, we're going to require a big deposit, and they can't do that, then possibly they can do prepay where they don't have to put that huge deposit, and they can pay as they go. They can actually pay every day as they go, a little bit at a time.
Mhm.
But that's a new system that we've just got developed because of our new metering system too. So that's something I've been looking forward
Yeah.
to for years, and now it's here. So that's good for people who struggle with their money month to month.
Yeah,
So
because we got to have electricity.
that's correct.
I mean, it's probably not a fun bill to pay, but we got to have it, right?
Yes.
And if you do pay prepay, then you start noticing how much you're using
Oh,
every
so
day.
education
So
issue.
I think that helps people that are struggling with how much electricity they're using. So it kind of helps them. It better suits them to be able to say, oh, I'm using this much money. Maybe I'm cut back here.
Right.
And I think that's something that we're offering now that we did not have before.
So to close, tell us about the reputation of GDE in the Valley.
I think we're highly respected. One of the things that always comes up at the big meetings is Gallatin is one of the fastest growing electric systems in the Tennessee Valley, percentage wise in customers. I've been around a long time, just, because I'm long in the tooth, I get asked for a lot of advice from younger managers and things like that. We have a program, Valley Public Power Leadership Academy, that I help facilitate each year. And all those things put together, you start to gain respect over time. And I think Gallatin a lot of people look to Gallatin and what's Gallatin doing? What are you paying your linemen? What's this policy, that you're doing something new? We've been very creative with a lot of different things. Our employee schedule is something that is unique. A lot of people will do their line crews. They'll do them, they'll split the line crew, and then you'll have a half crew working every Friday. Well, that's pretty easy to do because of the way the line crew's set up. But what about the front office? If you're doing that for your linemen, what are you doing for your front office? And we have a program where we rotate everybody up front, customer service, so there's usually 1 or 2 off every day of the week, and that's been interesting. It's not always perfect, but it's a benefit to that employee to have at least 1 day off every 2 weeks
Yeah.
that they normally wouldn't have.
Yeah.
I'll say,
26 days a year.
I'll say also that there are bigger systems, right? There's Nashville Electric Service, there's Middle Tennessee Electric. There are bigger systems, but just because they're bigger doesn't mean their voice is louder or heard more.
That's right.
Mark's voice is loud also. We know this, but they're all
It's a personal
heard.
problem.
They're all heard equally. So it doesn't matter who's talking when they're talking to TVA or talking on the Hill. They're hearing from LPC or local power company representatives, and the voice is going to be heard the same.
So Mark's representing us well.
Yes, he has, and he does, and you should be proud when he go. You know that he goes and he's showing up. He's really speaking for the public power model.
No, I don't always. I always ask questions, so that's one of the things that I'm expected to ask pertinent questions,
Yeah.
and I do. That's just who I am. So,
Well, good. Well, thank you
Yeah,
both.
welcome.
I hope everyone has learned a little bit about just something we take for granted, a utility we take for granted. And I also, how can we appreciate our linemen more, right? So just, it's a tough job, and they're public servants. And as you said, they're risking something every time they're out in weather. So I have learned a lot through working with y'all and have a greater appreciation for
you.
what you do and what you provide, and also the people that are doing it.
Can I
So,
say 2 more things?
absolutely.
Okay, so April we have National Lineman Appreciation Day.
We are launching this one yes,
Good.
for that week. Yep.
I want, if you see a lineman out, wave at them, thank them, appreciate them, give them a high five, whatever it is. Let them know that they're seen. Second is, if you haven't picked up your Gallatin directory from the chamber, we have an article. Not we, but Kim has written an article in there about a time to remember of a fallen lineman that we had at GDE, Mr. Bobby D. Howell. It was an accident actually at our substation at GDE, just to say that their jobs are dangerous. And, when we preach safety and we celebrate safety, it's for a reason. So when you see them out and you see them doing things safely, also say good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks for saying those things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you both for the good work you're doing, the good work you're leading, and the reputation that you've given Gallatin in this space. Appreciate it.
thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
being
having
here.
us.